Hello and welcome to another edition of the 77%. This is the show for Africa's youth like you and I. Wherever you're watching from, I'm your host, Eddie Micah Jr. So this week's show will focus on education. How do you keep students and children in school? Here's what's coming up. Our street debate team is in South Africa to find out why so many students are dropping out of school. We'll also meet a group of campaigners in northern Nigeria who are trying to bring kids back into the classroom. And we'll check out a Malian rapper who is encouraging other young women to pick up the mic. Now, COVID-19 has made life difficult and education has been hit hard. The pandemic has kept children across the world out of school for several months. Some have even missed a whole year of school. Now, the UN estimates that nearly 24 million children and youth may drop out or not have access to school this year due to the pandemic's economic impact alone. So, how have schools and students been faring so far across the continent? We asked our correspondents to tell us about the state of education in their countries.
Zimbabwe is regarded as one of the countries with the highest literacy rate in Africa at 89%.
Many young Ugandans want the government to address, to invest more in quality education.
Nigeria is facing an education crisis.
Education is regarded as one of Zimbabwe's greatest achievements post-1980 independence from Great Britain. This school here is a good example of the investment that the country has made in education. But now, Zimbabwe is regarded as one of the countries with the highest literacy rate in Africa at 89%. However, education is not free, though public school fees are controlled. Another milestone has been the girl-child education. It is estimated that 52% of women are graduating from universities with high-level qualifications.
In Uganda, most young people are not happy with their education system. They criticize the policy of examining their ability to cram pre-taught answers rather than their ability to create solutions to real-life problems. Many employers say that they have to retrain graduates because they find on average many of them without the needed skills in an already small job market. Now, this is what many young Ugandans want the government to address, to invest more in quality education, which can strategically skill Ugandans who can be hireable, but most importantly, those who can create jobs.
Nigeria is facing an education crisis. On paper, the country has free and compulsory primary education, but statistics tell a different story. Nigeria's out-of-school children is the highest in the world, and around 30% of the population is illiterate. For one, there are not enough public schools. Students often have to walk long distances to get to school. Classrooms are usually too packed, and many of these schools are not even well equipped or funded. In the north, almost half of the girls don't go to school at all. And the ones who go to primary school are married off before they get the chance to finish secondary school or university. And then there is insecurity, terrorists burning down schools and kidnapping teachers and students. The Nigerian government has been criticized for not paying enough attention to schools in the country.
So, as expected, different countries have their own challenges when it comes to the state of education. But some are feeling the impact even more, as we heard from my colleague Flourish Chukura in Nigeria. Right now, the country is facing an education crisis. According to the United Nations, every fifth child that is not in school lives in Nigeria. Now, let's take a closer look at Kano State in northern Nigeria, which has the highest number of out-of-school children in the country.
Basic education is a fundamental human right. But here in Minchika village in northern Nigeria's Kano state, many children are found on the farm or playing on the street instead of in the classroom. Yunus Musa is the co-founder of the Give North Education campaign, which advocates basic education for all, not just the privileged few. For Yunus, helping rural kids access education is the key to progress.
I feel very bad about education in northern Nigeria being under-resourced. Why? Because I believe that it's only education that can bring my people out of darkness. Without this education, there won't be a record of any achievement. This education is the backbone of every developed nation.
Those who can afford it send their children to private schools in the city, but that's not an option here in Minchika. There are very few schools in the area and most are in a terrible state.
In my school, there are no toilets, desks, or even chairs. The school is also very far from our homes. I think our teachers are dedicated, but it's very hard to learn with nothing to help us.
But the lack of infrastructure isn't the only problem. Not everyone here recognizes the value of formal education. Skepticism of Western-style learning, the belief that girls don't need to be educated, and regional instability have created a difficult environment for learning to thrive. That's where Yunus comes in. He's working to raise awareness about the importance of education beyond Quranic schools. Open communication with the local chiefs and village elders is a vital part of Yunus's work, and it seems to be having an impact, according to Minchika's chief.
We used to write letters to parents and deliver them house by house to encourage the children to go to school. But today, they take them to school voluntarily because we now value Western education. Sometimes, the children here even take themselves to school to enroll. But still, the main thing discouraging school attendance is the distance from the school to the village.
Over the past 3 years, Give North Education has reached out to over 500 rural communities, but Yunus still wants to do more.
Towards the year 2030, we want to make sure that every child from northern Nigeria is given this duly right of education. We want to make sure this happens in northern Nigeria.
The Kano state government recently made basic education free and compulsory, and maybe change is on the horizon.
I do hope it's not a maybe and that change is actually on the way. Nigeria is not the only country facing a problem of school dropouts. South Africa's school system has been described as one of the most unequal systems in the world. Latest figures show that it has the widest gap in the quality of education between its top and lower schools. This has contributed to students dropping out of school at an early age. Our street debate takes us to the Alexandra township of Johannesburg to understand the reasons behind this problem. Here is my colleague Busisiwe Gumede Chijanje leading the discussion.
The 77% is coming to you from Alexandra Township, which is located on the ragged edge of Sandton, Africa's richest square mile. This community is the opposite of that. It is marred by high unemployment, poverty, as well as corruption. Perhaps it is the perfect location to debate South Africa's education system, as well as its battle with the high dropout rate in schools. Across the country, about 40% of all grade 1 learners will leave the schooling system before finishing grade 12. So what is behind this problem? I want to put that to a panel of experts well versed in today's discussion. And I want to begin the conversation with Rahima. We know that a dropout is not a singular event. Nobody wakes up with a burning desire to leave school. In the public imagination, dropout is often thought of as, or a dropout is often thought of as someone who is lazy or irresponsible and has no interest in school anyway. That is not what we have found. Instead, dropout comes at the end of a long process of disengagement in which a young person is pushed or pulled out of school because of factors in their home, school, or community environment. So internal and external factors, Zama, this is where I want to bring you in. In your view, what is, behind the high dropout rate in South Africa?
I think, in South Africa, we can't talk of any crisis without talking about the socio-economic conditions that we find ourselves in. But we're talking about learners who have to choose between survival and staying in school. We're sitting today here in Alex, in one of the communities that has high levels of child-headed households. So these kids have to choose whether, do I go to school or find means of sustenance to support my younger siblings.
So what I'm hearing, Asanda, from Zama is that there is a relationship between the high dropout rate that we're seeing in South Africa with poverty. Do you agree?
Yes, I do agree.
And your take on that, please?
You find that in a classroom you have maybe 70 learners and there's one teacher. And you can't be a teacher that is trying to intervene when you are faced with 70 learners. That's why a lot of kids go through this education system and they are missed, because no one has time to really focus on one learner to find out what are they battling with, what are they carrying when they come to school.
Ntato, that pressure also imploded on you when you were in school and you decided to quit. What compelled you to do that?
So I was actually exposed to gangsters, drug abuse as well.
And what was the result of that?
Well, the result of that, I ended up being with the wrong crowd. I ended up being addicted to drugs, actually. And what happened was we did a housebreaking, which went wrong. And I actually went to prison for 2 years for that. And while I was in prison, I actually gathered my thoughts and did some introspection.
Whatever the reasons, policies are important, and the Department of Education or even government has implemented a number of policies over the years. The question is, why aren't they working? I want to put that question to Zama.
I think firstly we must just make it clear that the department has just decided to ignore this problem. And that's why it has been getting worse and worse.
So who should be holding the department accountable?
I think across society, we've all ignored this problem. I don't think it's just the department. There hasn't been a strong, conceited campaign to say, comrades, we have a problem here. How do we mitigate?
All right, let's hear from Landi. What's your take?
So I think Zama said something interesting about the society ignoring the dropouts. There were numerous strikes that took place within the community of Alexandra, but the government ignored that. So there were initiatives that were taken by the students to change what is happening within the public schools within Alexandra. So I could say that the society didn't really ignore the whole dropout rates, but rather the dropout became a norm due to the ignorance of the government.
I'm interested in zooming into learner behavior, right? Are we holding young people accountable? The very same young people who we know can be problematic in schools, disturbing class and so forth.
No one comes out of Alexandra and is seen as a good person. No one comes out of Alexandra as a good person. So already holding a student accountable for a certain behavior, it's quite unreasonable to do that, because already you have categorized them. So you can't expect something from someone of which you have already categorized.
So we've spent a good amount of time establishing what the problem is and issues related to that. But I'm more interested in the solutions. Do you think that you are empowered enough to come up with the solution to this very big problem?
Yes, as students, we can have all the complaints and take them to the teachers, but it's not within us to change them. After all, they are the ones who are guiding us up to post-destination school and stuff. We rely on the teachers to be the ones who actually help us. So expecting students to be the ones who come up with the solution is somehow unfair to the students.
Is it enough to just say that, the responsibility rests on students, on parents? How do we then get to the solution? And I want to hear from you, Gracious.
Oh, I think it boils down to us collaborating together. And I think some teachers have really done that, because if I go back to my history at school, when I was doing grade 5, I was unable to read until I was moved to another school. When I got there, the teacher was available for me. She sat down with me, started from scratch, taught me the vowels and the consonant. And here I am now. I was the top learner from grade 8 up until grade 12. Now I'm a university student.
And I think that is the perfect way to wrap up this conversation and this debate. What we have established is that this debate is far from over. It is complex. It has many sides, but it's going to need effort from government, the NGOs, civil society, families to come together and try find a solution. And this is not where it ends. It really has to continue. And I'm hoping that you will take part in commenting on what you've heard so far and give us your take on this topic. This was the 77% out in Alexandra Township. My name is Busisiwe Kumete Chijanje.
Thank you, Busisiwe. That was a great debate. Now, we're also interested in what's good or bad about the education system in your country. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please comment below and don't forget to subscribe. Let's now go to Mali for our next report, which looks at the country's music scene. Now, Mali is known more for its traditional kora music with musicians like Salif Keita or Umu Sangare. So what motivated a young woman to become a rapper? To find out, let's go meet Mali's biggest female rapper, Ami Yerewolo.
Aminata Danioko, also known as Ami Yerewolo, is Mali's first and most famous female rapper. The 29-year-old from Bamako broke into a scene that is still very much male-dominated.
Rap in our society is seen as something that is not for children who have a good education. Rap is seen as something that is not respected. And when you're a woman, it's even worse.
An outspoken woman is not easily accepted. Ami's own family would have rather seen her married and tried to pressure her into ending her music career.
At first, I would hide, but at some point, I couldn't hide anymore. There were so many things. You can't do this, you can't do that. I thought it wasn't compatible with the artist's life I wanted to have. That's why I left.
Ami started her career in 2010. She wants to make songs about issues people can relate to.
When I rap, I try to talk about all the difficulties I went through and about all the things in my society that influenced me, the problems. When I speak about children's rights or violence against women, for example, I speak about those Malian realities around me, which are often also African realities.
With her third album coming out soon, Ami Yerewolo is building an international following. Now, she wants to encourage other young women to take control of the mic. Once a year, Ami organizes the festival Le Mali A des Rappeurs. The program includes concerts, workshops, and a competition for female hip-hop artists.
I remember 2 years ago they weren't at this level. Now I see them performing live and it's very encouraging. I feel motivated. I'm really happy to see this tonight.
18-year-old Olivia was the winner of last year's competition. Olivia never went to school or learned to read or write. To her, winning this competition was a huge break.
At first, my parents didn't agree. But when they saw that I was fighting for the life of music, they started to understand. With this festival, we can get training, experience, and meet people. It's very helpful.
For these girls, Ami is a role model, and rap is a way of building their self-confidence. What's more, it's a way of expressing their anger, frustrations, and joys in life.
When sad things happen in my life, I go home, I play loud music, and I rap. After about 30 minutes, I'm happy again. I forget about all the problems in the world.
Ami won't call herself an activist, but her work is changing the image of rap in Mali and inspiring women to make their voices heard.
I am definitely inspired. Good luck to Ami and all those women she's supporting. Now, if you've been following the 77%, you may remember another very talented musician that we've had on our show before. I'm talking about Rachel M. She's still very young, but is already a big deal in Uganda. Her song Girls' Rights addresses a matter very close to her heart.
Pregnancy, wake up, justice, talk of defilement. She's young, oh, not a wife. Don't you see that you're 5 times her age? We need more girl graduates in our community. Don't you see she's scared in front of Mila? You shameless, sugar daddy, senseless, sugar daddy. Alright, we need girl rights. No matter boy or a girl, we need equal rights and justice. The mother of all the nations, girl rights and justice. No matter boy or a girl, we need equal rights and justice. The mother of all the nations, girl rights and justice. The time is now. Let me see your responsibility. Here the consequence of this negligence. Cervical cancer, fistula, poverty, girl rights, ignorance, girl rights. No, 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 no. STDs. No matter boy or a girl, we need equal rights and justice. The mother of all the nations, girl rights and justice. No matter boy or a girl, we need equal rights and justice. The mother of all the nations, girl rights and justice.
Equal rights and justice. That was Rachel M. singing about a better future for girls and women across Africa. Now, talking about the future, do you have a plan for yours? I hope that was a yes. We asked young people from different countries what they want to do with their future.
My goal is to work on my art and perfect it. My goal is to be an amazing actress and also get to be an international actress.
In 3 years, I see myself being a successful chef and owning my own restaurant. What I enjoy about cooking is you can do whatever you want, you can add whatever you want, you can experiment, and there's not really a set where you have to do everything.
In 30 years, I see myself when I'm a big star and I've won many awards and when I've inspired many young talents.
My dream, I hope to become one of the best and greatest magicians in Africa soon. And I would love to make magic a thing in Nigeria here and a big industry in Nigeria here because magic is rare. You barely see magicians around and it's not really acceptable by citizens of Nigeria or Africa. In 2050, I hope to see Nigeria as one of the greatest, one of the lively and fun countries where we can always say, oh, I want to go to Nigeria for vacation, I want to go to this place for vacation.
My dream for Africa is when everyone is literate and the children can expose their talents to the community.
You'll find a situation whereby a daughter or a son wants to do TV, wants to do radio, wants to do theater, wants to get into drama or soccer, but the parent just wants the kid to be a lawyer or a doctor. So I just want our country to be able to reach a place whereby the parents can be able to embrace their kid as they are and support their dreams come true, instead of them having to dream for their kids whatever they want to dream for them.
I also dream of a place where we can all be who or what we want to be. Now, as always, we want to hear from you, so head over to our social media pages and tell us about your hopes and ambitions. And you should definitely check out our brand new Instagram page. It's DW_the77%. You can also send an email to 77@dw.com. Now, I hope you've enjoyed the show, but it's time to wrap up. We'll leave you with some music from Ami Yerewolo with her track, Ibamba. I am Eddie Micah Jr. See you next time.
Get a nigga down with cliff lions, you know, Juby, I'm a queen, I'm far away. Tafu, Kabake, the pipi, my sound, the Sebeke, Fadin, Tonic, all the fair, but I'm a Babala, Willie Kadoke. Nigga, I shouldn't kill it on to the dog. In my minute, killer, no go better for the form. She didn't and I want to wire Baba draw at the Indian Jake, I'm a Benedron, a Benedron, I like Benedron, Ubara Joga, la Chama, the core, in case of a draw over them for the cord, doing Yafa, the first one, the talk of 40. Ye impose mali rapula Koto vestira la mi alla sona